Chris Duncan. I'm with Find Your Focus Photographic Education. You can find us at findyourfocus.org. We're going to be working today with NIK software to show you how to make a soft, dreamy, ethereal type image. This is our image we're going to work with today, so let's get right into it. Before you want to open the NIK interface, any of these plugins, do all of your editing first as far as retouching. Any liquify, any transformations, any head swaps, anything like that, blemish or spot removal that you want to do it before we get into this. Just have that out of the way. That'd be my recommendation. So let's assume all of that's been done on this image, and we're going to make this soft, dreamy, ethereal look. Here is what we're trying to get for when we're done. Here's where we're starting. So I'm going to start in Viveza 2, and I'm going to go and open Viveza 2. Going to hit F to show full screen and Command 0 to see my image. And what I want to do is I want to brighten this a little bit. Actually, we're going to brighten it quite a bit with my brightness slider. I'm going to add a little bit of structure, get some of those edges nice and crisp, and then I'm going to open up these shadows quite a bit. And it may look a little bit flat, but that's okay. We're going to be bringing that detail back in here shortly when we get into our next interface. And now I'm going to add a control point under their skin, bring that circle of influence down, and then we're going to just brighten up their skin about 10% right there. And let's go ahead and click OK. You can see we've got a new layer already with Viveza on there. Very good. Now I'm going to go ahead and duplicate my Viveza layer with Command J and name it Dreamer. The reason I'm going to do that is we're about to move into HDR Effects Pro 2. And when I click on that, it does not create a new layer for us like it does with Viveza and some of the other plugins. So I click on the Tone Mapping, the Single Image button out of my NIK Selective tool, and it'll open the HDR Effects Pro interface. And I've already created a preset that you're able to download and use called Software-CjDuncan. And for the sake of time of this video, I'm going to go ahead and click on that and apply that preset. And then we'll just talk about what it's doing really fast. In my tone compression, it's bringing it down to 55%. My method strength, I brought it up to 64%. But the key to this is really how we do our HDR method to get that soft, dreamy look. And I want my depth to be strong, and that's what brings me my deep blacks and that contrast back that we took away with Viveza. The detail I bring to soft all the way to the left. And then my drama I like deep. And that just gives us this look you see right now. Then we get down to the tonality section. Bump my brightness a little bit because those drama, that strong depth and deep drama will lower the exposure just a little bit. So I'll bring that back out. Add some contrast. I'm at 22%. And then I take my black slider to the left and my white slider to the right to brighten my whites and deepen my blacks. And then I'm adding a little bit of warmth. But what I need to do is take this effect off of their skin because it really kind of muddies up their skin. And that's not what my subjects want. So I'm going to hit a control point, drop it right on their skin, and all I need to do is just take away the method strength. That's what's doing this, is that method strength. So lower that circle of influence, and your method strength is your very bottom slider. It says MS. Let's just take it all the way to the left here. Oop, there we go. And then I'm going to click OK and apply this. Like I said, this preset is available for you to download. You can visit findyourfocus.org on the blog and find this under this video. You can hear in the blog. I have both of them here. Okay, now when it's applying the HDR, you can see there's before the HDR we did and after. I want to go ahead, let's zoom in on this so you can see a little bit closer what we're doing. Here, there we go. And I'm going to add a layer mask to this. I'm going to hit B to give me my brush. Make sure my brush is black. The opacity is about 60%, and it's a soft edge brush you can see right here. What I want to do is just gently paint away this HDR effect above on their face. I know I did a control point to remove the method strength, but I just need to remove a little bit more of that grittiness. And what I really need to look at is around the edges. You can see this little bit of aberration around here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to brush that away ever so slightly, just to take away some of that aberration that occurs around their body. Just that contrast there is giving us that. So you can really see it there around his on the back of his leg. So I don't have to take the effect off all of them. Really, I want it off their skin and just look for those aberrations. Now, if I would have not gone and done the Viveza step, which is so important, please don't forget that step when you're doing this technique. I need to put that brightness back in them. Otherwise, I would be brushing into this. And that just doesn't match the feel of our image. I need that bright, dreamy look. So that's why I did that Viveza step first. And it gives me the ability to paint in some of these shadows and light where I want it. And really keep the feel of the image consistent. Okay, so there we are right there. I think it's looking pretty good. I'm going to do one last thing just to really pull our eye into them, and that's going to be using Color Efex Pro 4. So the next selective tool, I'm going to hit Color Efex Pro 4 and open that interface. If you're new to NIK and you want to try them out, make sure you go to niksoftware.com. That's NIK software.com. You can download free trials for 15 days of any of their software, full working trials, and you can use promo code CjDuncan and save 15% if you wish to purchase some of these. So I have created a recipe called Soft Dreamer Finish, and for sake of time I'm going to click on that. You have this recipe available to download as well, and there you can see on the right is our finished, on the left is what we opened with. And just real quick, go over these filters. We have a cross-process filter. I like the L07. You can see right there. And the strength is about 14%. Then I'll do shift-click on a darken, lighten, center, or add a darken, lighten, center filter to this. Make sure I place my center where I want my center over them. And then I think the key to this is the midnight. I'm in love with the midnight filter. I do the color set of sepia. You have all these different colors. I like the sepia. Green would have worked for this too, but I went with the sepia to give it a little warmth. Bring the blur down a little bit. Contrast stays about the same. I bump up the brightness a little. And this is all in the recipe, but the key is if you click on this control point, it expands your window and you have an opacity slider. This is where midnight defaults at 100% effect. That's not the look I'm going for. I want a soft, airy, ethereal look. So I bring this down to about 30%. Okay? And it really pulls our eye into my subjects here. You can see I've got a little bit of that brown look on their skin, which isn't bad, but I want to take some of that off and really pull our eye into them. So I'm going to hit a minus control point, put it right there, and bring that circle of influence down. And then with each of these control points, I can bring my opacity back up to about 10%. So it doesn't remove all of it, just removes most of it. Then I'm going to hold the Option key, drag these control points around to remove that effect where I don't want it. And I'm just taking it off of them, some of the deeper shadow areas in their skin, because I want our eye to be drawn right to our subject. And you can see how I've accomplished that. Click OK. I'm applying this. And now let's look at our full image. Now you can do any cropping. Make sure you do a save as command so you don't overwrite your original, however you'd like to do. But this is our finished image, our soft dreamer ethereal look. Here is before we finished it with Color Efex Pro out of HDR, using our methods there. Tone mapping. Here is Viveza after we brightened it quite a bit, which we have to do because we bring that depth back in. And there is our out of camera image, which is a nice image, has great exposure. The lighting's good. You know, we could easily just show our client this, maybe a little dodging and burning, but finishing up Viveza, HDR effects, then finally with Color Efex Pro, I think we can create a really neat effect unique to our style and what we want to portray. So some of these will take some time figuring it out. This video is a little over 10 minutes, and I had to explain it when I did it. If I know and just I'm running through this, it's a routine. You could do this in a matter of minutes and really create a unique look that not everyone's going to have in your area. So this gives you a competitive and creative advantage. So once again, thanks for watching today. My name is Cris Duncan with Find Your Focus Education. You can find us at findyourfocus.org, and make sure you check out all the wonderful plugins for Photoshop, Lightroom, Aperture, and Capture NX by NIK Software at niksoftware.com. Thanks again for watching, and happy creating.